Matt Vicens asks, ACC on console, what are my thoughts on the 30 frame rate cap, and will the physics still feel the same? Well, here's my thought about the console, and I'm very serious about it. Now, we all know that 30 frames per second is a compromise, and we're not happy about that. It would have been much, much better to have 60 frames per second or even 100 frames per second, obviously. But I've tried it. 30 frames per second, it's still good, and you can drive it. It's much more smooth than uh, PC 30 frames per second. As we know, uh, the consoles are optimized for 30 or 60 frames per second, so the whole thing is much smoother. I would suggest eliminate the steering wheel animation so that you don't have some graphic lag from the 30 frames per second. You don't need to see it because you have your own steering wheel in front of you. And once you do that, there's no real input lag. And the most important thing is, in my very, very humble opinion, your opinion might be different. I respect it, but please allow me to say this. Assetto Corsa Competizione is on console. And modesty apart, I think it's the first time that such an advanced simulator with the same physics goes into the console. We are talking about true 100% hardcore simulation on the console. Never happened before. There is nothing like it on the console. I mean, there are so many people saying that Assetto Corsa Competizione is probably the best GT3 simulation right now on PC. I'm not objective. I would say yes, of course, but I'm not objective, so I won't say that. But I would say that it's certainly top stuff, okay, in terms of physics, up there with everybody. We aren't afraid of anybody in terms of physics in GT3 cars, and it is now on the console. Never before in the history of consoles we had such an advanced simulator physics on the consoles for the GT3 cars, and the same sound is on the console. And honestly, I truly believe we have the best sound in the industry, bar none, on the GT3 cars anywhere in the PC. And now the console users can finally have such a rich sound experience. I mean, there is nothing out there. I mean, just listen to those engines. It's unbelievable. Okay, so the sound is exactly the same. The detail of the models is the same. Sure, we don't have the same effects, we don't have the same texture resolution, but the detail of the models is amazing, and we've talked about that at the start of our stream here. I've shown you the model is unbelievably good and detailed, and so many small things. Um, the tracks are all laser scanned. There is incredible precision to the tracks, incredible 24 hours. Because first to say that Gran Turismo has amazing graphics, but there is always a but. The conditions of the lighting are fixed, and that is a big difference. Because you can pre-render the shadows, and the shadows are very heavy on the hardware. While in our situation, the shadows are all dynamic and they change with 24 hours of the day, and sun and the moon and everything, and even the lights of the cars. And then we have full weather simulation, dynamic, rains, puddles, dry line, everything works. Nothing has been, cut out. So all we did is, obviously, we limited the textures, we limited some details, we tried our best, 30 frames per second, that's how it is. But I believe that for the true lovers of simulation, that for whatever reason they prefer the console, it's the first time that they have the opportunity to have a truly next level, next generation hardcore simulation on the console. And we're talking about the old consoles here. And I think that's a great thing. I mean, it might sound like marketing, but I think I'm talking about facts, So that's the situation. Still 20 opponents, not bad at all. I mean, it's not like 16 that we had with the Assetto Corsa 1, so even that is better. So yeah, that's how I see the whole thing. I think it's really good if you really care about how proper racing simulator and driving.